Good evening, Crimson Tide Nation, and welcome to the 23rd edition of the Alabama Crimson Tide Call-In Show from yours truly, Jackson Johnson and Jeffrey at Only Talk Sports, where we take your calls talking about the Alabama Crimson Tide, or at least we try to. And let me tell you something, folks, it's going to be a wild ride. How you doing tonight, good buddy?
Doing pretty good, Jackson. Excited to do the 23rd edition of the Call-In Show. And our first topic that we're going to be discussing before we get to the callers is kind of funny. Excited to talk about that. Pretty good off-season talk, I will say, depending on if you're interested in this sort of thing. But it's going to be fun to talk about that. And I'm sure we're going to talk about Alabama basketball at length again and some other things as well. So definitely excited to get into it.
Yep. That and it's funny though, because and one of these days that trademark catchphrase, we're gonna make that catchphrase trademark. We're gonna get you making that money off it, man. There you go. Godfather, the SEC is in. Said he'll be a little late. He's seen everyone 9:30. Dr. Buckeye needs a wellness check, and he made it number one. All right. Our OG YouTube member, the Godfather, the SEC is here, and
Coming in at the perfect time. Appreciate it.
I mean, it wouldn't be an Alabama College show without you, good buddy, or Alabama Richie, who's going to be talking with us in just a little bit. But first, we have the YouTube memberships for Alabama with the Voice College Football for $2.99 a month. You can become a Crimson Faithful member, where you'll have a loyalty badge next to your name in the comments and the live chat, custom emojis, and member shoutouts. And for $4.99 a month, you can get priority replies to comments, access to a monthly hangout from yours truly, and Jeffrey at Only Talk Sports, Coach Johnny Burtz, and the host of Alabama Primetime Live Tuesday nights at 6 p.m. Central Time, Manny Wilson, Brady Quoto. We all make sure we bring out the best insight on Alabama football. And for $9.99 a month, you can connect with us on social media and give out content requests of any request for content for Alabama with the Voice College Football. That's all by becoming a Bear Bryant legend. And neither rain, nor sleet, nor snow, nor bad storms from this Friday and Saturday will put a stop to us from fulfilling your request on Alabama at the Voice College Football. That we can promise you.
Absolutely. You definitely are not going to want to miss out on being a member at Alabama at the Voice of College Football. And you're not going to want to miss out on Mark Rogers' book as well, the 1990s Reset. Let Jackson get into that.
There we go, man. The 90s Reset, college football's historical 1990s Reset, the disputed national champions, written by Mark Rogers, where you'll learn about what happened during the 90s, how the decade changed sport, why the championship results should be questioned, how to critically think through the scenarios, and appreciate the accomplishments of teams that were not recognized as champions. This book provides an in-depth analysis of the changes, controversies, and outcomes that define a decade of college football. It challenges readers to explore and critically evaluate the decisions that shape the national championship landscape. Unlock the mysteries of college football's most debated decade. Grab your copy now. It is the perfect book to get for college football fans alike this Easter season on 420.
I mean, it's the off season. Football will be back before we know it, unless you want to watch the spring football. The UFL. Unless you don't watch that, it's going to be a little while before football is coming around. So, got to get a book to read about college football during the off season to tide you over. And nothing better than Mark Rogers' book, The Voice of College Football.
Yeah, every time I feel like doing that Snoopy crying session, I go, I've got the Mark Rogers book, Disputed National Champions, Historical 1990s Reset, and I've got old videos on YouTube. So it's like, there we go. I'm happy.
That's enough to tide you over until football begins again.
Exactly. But all righty. Before we get to our first caller, we heard some news about the cover for NCAA Football 26. Ryan Williams is the only one on there. Is it fair? Not fair? What's everybody thinking about this? Me personally, oh, there's your boys, Jeffrey, Bama, and Indiana.
Yeah, we'll take it.
There you go.
We'll take it. I mean, it's such a small thing, but you know it wouldn't have been on there if it wasn't for the playoff run. So we'll take what we can get.
I know, right? It's like I'm curious about it, and I see that there's some mascots on there. I see the Oregon Duck.
Well, you can't put an Indiana mascot on there because we don't have one. So yeah, the
Nope.
flag works.
Well, and I don't see Big Al. Well, that sucks. No Big Al.
Yeah, I guess they kind of filled the quota with Ron Williams, but yeah, it would have been nice to see Big Al on there.
I mean, I like Bryce Underwood, but come on, add Keelan Russell to that cover.
Yeah, it's because Bryce Underwood got more press because of the whole, decommitment from LSU, him going to Michigan, and the supposed NIL contract that he signed. So, and I think according to some services, he's ranked higher in the recruiting rankings. So that's probably why. But still cool to see Ryan Williams on there. It's well deserved. He's a fantastic receiver. Jeremiah Smith as well for Ohio State. So, I mean, I think Ryan Williams kind of, fell a bit out of the national spotlight towards the end of the season because of Alabama's, I wouldn't say inability, but at times inconsistency to throw the ball downfield. So he definitely, he was getting double covered a lot. He was not getting as many targets as he had earlier in the season. But, I mean, what he did show us, though, in his freshman year was unbelievable, and his future is so bright. So definitely deserved to be on. And that's a supposed, right? That's not like an official one, right? It's not like is that the official one, or is that like a proposed cover?
It's the late covers.
Okay, the leak. So hopefully the final cover will still have the Indiana flag on it, and maybe we'll get Ryan Williams and Big Al. I don't want them taking the IU flag off, but if Ryan Williams is not on it though, that's crazy.
Well, and for those who want to look at the players that are on there besides Ryan Williams and Bryce Underwood, DJ Lagway was in it.
Ohio State got two. Sorry to interrupt. Ohio State got two players. Come on.
Yeah, but one of ours is our Bama OG, Caleb Downs.
Yeah, but doesn't count anymore, does it? I mean, I still look at him, yeah, former Bama player, kind of like Indiana with Michael Penix going to Washington. We still look at Jalen Hurts. That was a different situation. Like Alabama fans still kind of like to claim Jalen Hurts. But in the case of Caleb Downs, it's going to kind of be hard to claim him when he won a national title at Ohio State, kind of hard. But still, yeah, former Bama player, but yeah.
And we saw that James Franklin was in that photo shoot. I didn't notice Lane Kiffin was in it. Huh. How about that?
Sure, he's excited about that. Maybe that'll make Lane Kiffin feel a little bit better about missing the playoffs. That he's on the potential cover for College Football 26.
Oh man. Well, and it's pretty cool to see Kenny Dillingham on there. I'm hoping that I want to see if Arizona State has more than one good season.
Could have put Kurt Cignetti on there instead of Dillingham since he was Coach of the Year. But I'm just saying.
Yeah. But yeah, so were there any honorable mentions? And chat, feel free to comment on this take, and callers comment on this take as well in the private chat. Are there any honorable mentions that EA Sports should have gotten for this photo shoot?
Now, you asking that, Jackson, just for the players or for the coaches or both?
Everybody.
Well, I already said one for coaches, Kurt Signetti. he should have been on there. It's surprising they don't have Bill Belichick, right? Like, that's an obvious one because he's famous, right? Like, I know he hasn't done anything, but like having the North Carolina football coach, they could have had Belichick on there. Even like I said, hasn't done anything, but you surprised they don't have Marcus Freeman?
I'm extremely surprised.
Could have had him or the Texas coach as well, Sarkisian.
Yeah.
Either or, both of them definitely could have been there, but they're not. I mean, Brian Kelly would have been funny, honestly.
Oh man, Kate the man says Brian Day should be on the cover. I mean, I can't argue that.
I mean, he just won a title. I mean, even though he was literally people wanting him fired literally a few weeks before that, but again, he won a title, so yeah, he definitely should be on the cover. I know if Will's here though, he'd be like laughing so hard to be saying Brian Kelly, but he is one of the most popular coaches, like notoriety wise, not because he's great, but kind of same thing with Lincoln Riley.
Ooh.
Like he's one of the most well-known coaches, despite his career going south right now. But yeah, I think that list, if this ends up being the final product, it's not bad of having those coaches. Players, I mean, yeah, that's harder because there's so many players that you could put on there. That, like you said, Keelan Russell, you could have put him on there. Some of the other talented freshmen quarterbacks that are coming in that maybe would start. There's a lot of skill position players that you could put on there. So that's a lot tougher. With coaches, I feel like you can, more easily make arguments for. But is there any player that you can think of, Jackson, that's just like off the top of your head that's a miss, like that's not there that should be?
I do wish they could have put a few other of our guys, like, Jam Miller. I mean, that would have been cool to see him on there.
Yeah, it's fair. Dan Lanning says Austin. That's a good pick. Dan Lanning. But he is on the list now that I see it. He is there, so on the supposed list. So he's definitely if on the final cover should be there. Yeah, I was joking, Caden, on Lincoln Riley and Brian Kelly. I was joking. I'm just saying that they're well-known coaches, right? That their careers have gone south. Like he still could, be there, because I mean, when you have covers, why are people on covers? They're on covers for popularity, almost more so than like, I mean, it is skill and like how talented you are as a player, or like the legend of a coach, but still, it's like if you're popular, it kind of can be the same thing. I mean, Bronny James got more press than any player of all time, it felt like, a couple years ago, and the dude sucked. So I mean,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to be good to be well known. So that's kind of all I was referring to. But I wouldn't put Brian Kelly or Lincoln Riley anywhere near a football cover. But
no.
I'm just saying it'd be hilarious.
Oh yeah. Oh man, like I could go on all day about that whole Bronny James business. But
Bronny James, man, I know it's nothing to do with what we're talking about, but I told everybody, even when he was in high school, and I hate that he had the cardiac arrest. I hate that. I don't want nobody to have issues like that.
yeah,
I hate that happened. But prior to that, I'm like, he's overrated. He's LeBron's kid, so he's getting overhyped. He had no special skill. I mean, when you struggle to shoot from outside and you're an undersized guard, like if you don't shoot the ball that well in high school, then you're not good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and Bronny did not even shoot the ball well in high school. So that's not going to translate over to the NBA or even college basketball, and it didn't, and it hasn't. And if he wasn't LeBron's kid, he would have been absolutely a nobody. No one would have ever even have known he existed. It's not me trying to trash the guy. It's just facts. No. He's not a good player. And like I said, you don't have to be good to have notoriety. It could be for something you've done or who you're related to, but that's just the way that it works. And he was so massively overhyped.
It was funny seeing Stephen A. Cry to his friend on Fox, but the old guy, which he was like, yeah, which like I saw the Fox guy go, he got up in your it's like, no, don't say that. It's cringe when you say that because you're like what 60 something. You're a freaking dinosaur. Don't say that. That's
Yeah.
cringe. You're
It's like
cringe.
you seen that commercial? You seen that commercial where the dad is like saying all the Gen Z slang words or whatever?
Oh,
You've seen that, right?
yeah,
He's saying like all. I don't even want to say it because it's gonna sound cringe.
yeah,
So, but you know what I'm talking about though.
cringe.
And the one kid just the daughter just walks off because she can't take it anymore.
Yeah,
And the mom's laughing because like he's mastering the Gen Z slang. It's like when you're not of a generation and you're trying to talk or act like that generation, it just doesn't work. You know what I'm saying? It just
yeah,
doesn't work. Like it's not of your time per se.
yeah.
Yeah, I did see the comeback win, Austin. That was a very
Yeah,
good
the
performance.
band is all over the field with Louisville beating Stanford.
Now that was a
But
very good win. I mean, Stanford's not great, but they're not bad either. They're
but
not
of
a horrible
course,
team, so it's a pretty good win.
but of course, we have our first caller of the night, the one and only Alabama Richie.
Good
How you
evening,
doing?
guys. How y'all doing tonight?
Oh, we're doing good. How you doing tonight, good buddy?
Oh, not too bad. Just love the
Love the Bama
conversation.
swag, man. I love it.
Yeah, I appreciate it. But I was just laughing at what Jeffrey said about that commercial, that Gen Z commercial. So funny. Try to get your parents to do something like that and see what happens.
It just never works. It sounds horrible.
Not a chance, not a chance. But I was gonna say I do agree with the cover. Someone who shouldn't even be on the cover at all is Mike Norvell. I thought that was because everyone thought he was going to be the savior of FSU, and then he had the season he did. And no disrespect, because I've met DJ's dad. In fact, I think he still follows me on X, and he said my son only went to FSU because of the money, and I said excuse me, because he loved FSU. And I said, no, they paid him a fat sum of money to go play for your college because they thought that Oregon. I said, I said, you can take any average quarterback and make him look just okay. And what's up, Godfather? We appreciate you, my
Richie
guy. Thanks for
Rich,
being
you got a
faithful.
nickname.
I
There you go.
appreciate it.
The
So,
Macaulay Culkin movie, I remember that. Richie Rich.
yeah, I sure do. You remember the deal where he was trying to shave in the
Yeah.
bathroom? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, so what I was saying is,
Mm,
he was at Oregon State. He had the season he did because the Pac-12 didn't play defense. Everyone was jumping over their seat
mm,
trying to see if they could revive the guy and his own. And I'm not making fun of him, but keep like the LeBronny James deal. You hit the nail on the head. It's like he wasn't that good, and even if his dad wasn't, because you got like what's that guy's name? Peyton. Oh my lord, the bald basketball player, Peyton. Um,
Gary Payton.
yeah, Gary Payton.
Yeah.
He played for the Supersonics back in the day. His son's just okay. Scottie Pippen's son was just okay, but they weren't as hyped as LeBron's son. So
Mhm,
it's like I even remember when he was drafted, they drafted him out of desperation because they knew LeBron was going to be very upset if he wasn't picked. And they
mhm,
learned very early on he was going to the G League, and that's just the sad nature of it. But it is what it is. It's just you're exactly right. He was undersized in high school. He couldn't hit the brick side of a barn. He just like that. But I think that regardless, I think that you'll see him come back. But I will say that cover was decent. I do think that, like your guy Kirk Cinetti should have been on because he went to the playoffs and turned Indiana around. And you haven't seen that in a
mhm,
long time because to me, and just keeping it real, they're somewhere bottom of the barrel. So what he did this past season was outstanding, and a lot of people give Indiana slack because it's like they had to face these teams. It's like yeah, but they still were able to get into the playoff and show everybody that next few seasons with good recruiting and Kirk Cinetti being under Coach Saban at one point, he can take that knowledge and get them where they need to be. So I kind of wish he would have been on there. Marcus Freeman, he went to the championship. Where were you at? It's like I don't think that's the necessary. My opinion is that's the exact cover. But again, if it is, then I guess it would have been who they could have cut a deal with or who may have wanted to be on. Because I was telling people I think that Ryan Williams caught that as a deal part of his NIL. Maybe. I don't know how true that is. Love to see what you guys think. But that's just one of the things that I thought about it. So.
Yeah, it's very well possible that's the case. I mean, like NIL deals have changed so much since like they first began. Like I remember when like the first year that like NIL was a thing and like players were getting deals with like local furniture places and stuff like that. That's done. Like now it's all the schools and these donors and massive deals. Like some of them even into the millions of dollars. And so it's completely different. So like with Ryan Williams being the player that he is, as great of a player as he is, and how young that he is, I think that definitely that's, contributing to you're seeing guys like him want to be on covers. Like we even see like, I know it's kind of a shameless plug to another team in LA, but like Elliot Cadeau of UNC. I mean, he's in that Marriott commercial. I've seen it all season long. Like he don't even look the same anymore from the commercial that he does right now. Like he looks completely different, but it's like when they film that, it's like he got that deal and they've aired that commercial all season long. And it's like, he's a good player, but he's not even Carolina's best player. So it's like you're seeing all these players of these big schools in basketball and football striking all these deals. I mean, you saw Quinn Ewers in the Fansville commercials. I mean, you're seeing this type of stuff because there's a lot of money in that. I mean, there are people like I don't know how much he's worth, but like that Mayhem guy, the guy that has been doing the Mayhem commercials for like 15 years. I mean, there's a lot of money in it. There's a lot of money in just being in commercials, especially the amount of times they air it, how many times it's shown, especially like if people really like the commercials, like it becomes a series and it's been, all that kind of stuff. So, you don't have to just be in film. You don't have to be in shows or anything. Like Baycott for UNC basketball, again, he was in like a TV show for like a season. So, I mean, like these players are doing it because they know like that's going to increase like their exposure and then they'll make even more money off themselves, especially if they're a good player, but then they can market themselves. So yeah, I mean, it's probably smart for Ryan Williams to be on a cover if he ends up being on the cover on the final product. And I do think that, yes, that, like you said, was definitely part of his NIL probably.
Absolutely. The other thing too is they gave out the list, and off the top of my head, I don't exactly know what it was, but I was kind of disappointed. I mean, you hit it too. You said the end of the season he didn't really show as much as he did the first half, which is true. And you saw Jeremiah prove more because Ohio State. I said this too. I think that this next year, if Ryan has a breakout season with either Ty Simpson or Keelan Russell, then you'll definitely see his NIL boost even more because they came out with the list, and I think the top guy on there was Arch Manning, which I get it because you have the last name, but it's like you repped, and the only time you really repped was if they were blowing someone out the water or blowing them out of the park, or when Quinn Ewers had the oblique injury and they had to play Manning. They had no choice unless they just wanted to lose and make Shark look bad, and that wasn't going to happen. So I can, but I think name comes with it too. I really do because I think it, just plays a factor in what you can do. But I do remember those furniture deals. I remember some of the Bama guys got deals with furniture places, and it was funny to see because it's just like they'll take what they can get. So we'll see. But I want to get y'all's opinion on this real quick before I give it over and have to call it a night. The tournament's tomorrow. Well, it's been going on. We play tomorrow. Is there anything that you're looking? I think we play the winner of the Kentucky game. I think Kentucky may have won.
We're still waiting on that as of right now.
Okay.
Kentucky and Oklahoma, I believe.
Sounds good. And they got a couple players over there, away for Kentucky. Jeremiah Fears, the monster freshman for Oklahoma. Who do you think we're going to play? And also, what do you think we're going to do in the tournament?
I would think that they would play Kentucky, but we saw an upset earlier with Texas beating Texas A&M. So, I mean, it's really hard to say. I mean, like you're seeing teams on the bubble get really desperate. The entire SEC bubble's been desperate. I mean, we've seen them all get big wins: Arkansas, Oklahoma, Georgia. I mean, Georgia left for dead like 2.5 weeks ago, and now they're safely in the field. Texas is making a run. Now, I will say Texas might not get in because we saw A&M make a run in the tournament last year, and they were left out. So Texas might get left out because of that rule of it seems like the committee values what you do more in the regular season. So that maybe would make a team like Indiana, who I am hoping gets in, obviously. They might be safe, whereas Texas is not. Same with Carolina. Especially, I mean, Carolina beats Duke. I mean, if they beat Duke tomorrow, I mean, without flag, that's not going to be as impressive. So,
they'll
mean,
still get in.
We'll see. I don't know. I
think
they
honestly,
maybe
because
will,
North
but I don't know.
Carolina, I think because the fact North Carolina's a blue blood school.
They didn't get in 2 years ago, though, when they had the exact same type of resume. They were left out of the field. So Indiana, UNC, basically the bubble's coming down right now to Indiana, Carolina, Xavier, Texas, and Boise State kind of right now. And really San Diego State now that they lost. Those 6 teams are up for about 4 spots. So 2 of them are going to miss. I think Indiana gets in. If Carolina beats Duke, probably. If Texas wins tomorrow, them. And then maybe San Diego State. I think Xavier might get left out. If Carolina loses tomorrow, they're left out. But back to your point, though. So Oklahoma, they were a desperate team. And now that they're safely in the field, this game might not mean as much to them. So they're not going to be as like Texas was, like trying hard to win. I think they will try. But Kentucky's had a lot of injuries. I mean, I will say, in Mark Pope's defense, because some Kentucky fans are like, oh, they're underperforming a little bit. It's like, dude, they're overperforming. What are you talking about? They've been great, and they've had a lot of injuries, and they've still been great. And this stacked league, probably the best basketball conference of all time with all these great teams in it this year. So Kentucky's dangerous, even with being injured. So if you're Alabama, it'd probably be better to play Oklahoma. But if you play Kentucky and beat them, it would definitely increase the chances of getting a 1 seed. So I think if for that purpose, you would prefer to play. We would prefer to play Kentucky in that instance. But
I don't want to lose in the quarterfinals. I don't think that's going to happen. But it's March.
That would ruin the 1 seed chances, especially if Tennessee doesn't lose and Florida doesn't lose early. If those teams lost in their first available game, maybe.
Tennessee can have that 1 seed and everybody hype them up and then just take a dump in the
Tennessee chokes every year. We'll see if they do it again. So they choke every year.
Bet money on that. Bet money on Tennessee choking.
Yeah, they do, and so does the Barn. I'm not being, they played us very tough when we saw Broom's 30-something, but it's always one of those deals I've always said where Tennessee and Auburn always do great in the regular season, then they get in the playoff, and it's just like Janai Broom versus the world. It's like who else shows up, and a couple seasons ago it was like Jabari Smith, Walker Kessler versus the world. No one else showed up. Same deal with Tennessee. I just have a big problem with, is Lanier or Ziegler going to show up? And if so, who else contributes? Does Meshack or Gainey show up for him, or that Phillips kid they were throwing on off the bench? So we'll see. But I really think that for our sake, to wrap it up, we've got to play. This is the season last year where we played very good ball. It was middle towards the end where we showed that we had what it took. And again, Mark Sears only had 9 points against Auburn, right? But he didn't need to have a huge game because I saw it as this is a game where these other guys need to start showing they can play. I'm still a little iffy on Jaron Stevenson a bit because Stevenson gets a starting role for a reason, right? And Nat Oates defended him, which I don't blame him, saying he's not really brought in to start to be a big scorer. That's what you bring in Mark Sears, Nelson, Phylon for. But to me, it's like when you're scoring, and I'm sure you guys know legendary coach Greg Popovich, the San Antonio Spurs, said that if your guys are in double figures, like when they won the 2014 championship against Miami with that stacked team over there, LeBron, Bosh, Wade, Battier, Mike Miller, etc. We had the team. I'm a Spurs guy. They had the team where most everybody on the Spurs were in double digits a night. they're in that run. And I feel like if we can get most of our guys in double digits, we'll be safe. I will say, too, that was a very good effort from Cliff Amori. I feel like that's the reason, and he got the NIL based off of that game, because at one point I was saying, does Sherelle need more minutes? Because he wasn't really doing a lot, because he was he wasn't supposed to do a lot, but again, they brought him in to be a rim protector and to rebound the ball. So if you got 3-4 points out of him, but he had the other stats to back him up, I wasn't really too upset. But that game, really, he was perfect from the floor, and that's what Oates needs. So I think we'll be comfortable. And even if we don't win the SEC tournament, it's not like it's going to be a bad thing, but you're still going to want to look at it and go, we can't afford to do something dumb in the run. So that's just what I feel about it. So,
Well, all right, man. You can tell your friends, your family, and cashiers at Post about the magic that Alabama Richie is creating on X/Twitter and on TikTok, where I don't really like going on TikTok usually, but in that case, I make an exception for Alabama Richie, and you should
appreciate
too.
it. I try to be funny for everybody every day. So if your day wasn't going as good as you thought it should or whatever, you can watch me and have a laugh or something like that. It's my goal is to put a smile on someone's face. With that being said, you guys have a wonderful night. Thanks for having me on as always, and I will help you guys out at any point in any way,
I
getting y'all out
appreciate it.
there,
Appreciate
all
it,
that.
Alabama Richie.
There
Catch
we
y'all
go.
later, my guys.
We'll see you later, man. Stay safe, stay warm, stay away from that storm.
Oh, you guys too, and I'll do my best. Catch y'all later.
There we go.
See you guys.
We will keep it rolling at Alabama with the Voice of College Football for the 23rd edition of the call-in show. But before we get to our next caller, so I'd be generous yet again. I'm like, you know what? Let's get a new member in. And he is Greg McKinney. Congratulations, Greg. You are now a YouTube member of Alabama at the Voice of College Football, and you got the official welcome from the Godfather to SEC himself. And we got Garrison from the Ohio State Primetime Show at Ohio State, the Voice of College Football, the Buckeye Brigade, giving out a what's up. How you doing tonight, man? Good to see you, man. And we have our Nats caller, Caden, the Dark Lord of the Sith. How you doing tonight, good buddy? And how'd you come up with that name change exactly?
Well, I'm just in the mood, and honestly, as a friend of mine said, and I told Garrison this, as an old friend and a wise mentor of mine says, everything is proceeding as I have foreseen. Well, this college football season is everything I have foreseen, and that is proceeding. And as my mentor again would say, everything is proceeding according to my design. Well, he's not wrong about that either. If you're wondering who my teacher is and mentor, that's Lord Sidious. Don't question my teacher. But
I
not
don't
on the
think I
subject.
will. No worries, man.
But Jackson and I came to serve you that you are being summoned to Caden's courtroom Saturday night at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You and Jeffrey are being summoned to my court. That's right. You are being summoned to Caden the man's courtroom of college football to be called out for the teams of guiltiness and of not guiltiness. All personnel in the court that are subjected to be guilty will either be said to be guilty or not guilty. So just letting you both know, you're being summoned to my court 6 p.m. Saturday night for Caden's courtroom.
Okay.
But let's get on to the other thing, college football. Yes, as I said, everything is proceeding as I have foreseen. Well, the downfall of Alabama, as I have foreseen, has been happening. The downfall of Clemson, I have foreseen. And now the downfall of, well, Indiana, unfortunately, is I have foreseen. So, I'm in a happy and a joyous mood that the downfalls I had predicted but I have never said is coming into fruition according to my design. So I cannot complain. Because let's be honest, there's only two teams that are dominant in the world of college football. The Ohio State University Buckeyes and the Georgia Bulldogs. Anyone who disagrees with me is either just biased to both. And I know, Mark Rogers, if you're listening, I despise your lack of faith against my Buckeyes. Just saying. And Jeffrey, I find your lack of Indiana Hoosier love disturbing. It's making me have a bad taste in my mouth sometimes. But and Godfather, I find your lack of faith of Crimson Tide disturbing. Because unfortunately, yeah, it's disturbing.
No, I don't think. No, he's not from Feinbaum. He's called on the Voice College Football channels quite a few times. Matter of fact, Caden was the first ever caller from the first edition of the Alabama Call-In Show.
That is correct, Jackson. Well done on the memory. And as a friend of mine would say, most impressive. Most impressive.
Yeah, Jackson, his memory is incredible. He always remembers stuff like that. So that's awesome. I do have to ask you, Caden, the Dark Lord of the Sith. Is like you're saying, like Georgia and Ohio State, that's it. Like that's it. There's no other programs that can or will ever compete with those two again. Is that what I'm hearing?
Did I not say it correct, Jeffrey, or do I find your lack of faith disturbing? Because that could be either wise.
So I mean, like you think Ohio State and Georgia are gonna like win all the championships from here on out? Like nobody else is ever gonna win.
Did I not say that correctly, or is your hearing not good? Because clearly I've said it before again, and I've said it on multiple times on the show, that Ohio State and Georgia are the only two physical college football teams right now. Take it prowess-wise. Defensively, they're good teams. Physicality-wise, they're very good teams. So, I mean, as far as the SEC is concerned, that's a whole dumpster fire. I mean, let's be honest, Crimson Tide Nation has gone into all heck breaking loose, complaining about coaching. I mean, let's be honest, like most Alabama fans, 96% of them are, well, broken. And, well, that's just as I foresee to happen ever since Coach Saban retired. And like I've said, everything is proceeding as I have foreseen. I said it before, and I've said it again over and over, Jeffrey. But it seems your memory cannot comprehend everything I've said.
Well, the thing is that like that's why I said like forever, because you're saying like right now like Georgia and Ohio State, and I'm like okay, but like when does that end? Like when Kirby Smart and Ryan Day are gone? Because I mean Michigan just won it all the year prior, so I mean it's like other teams can win, they can beat those teams, but because like Georgia actually had a worse year this past year. I mean, you know, like they weren't as good this past season as they've been. So can they get back there? Absolutely. They're probably already on their way. But I mean, both teams are beatable, and other teams I think can win right now. But I mean, I do think, to your point, I think that Georgia and Ohio State right now are the two best programs. But that doesn't mean that they're not beatable. And I don't know how long that's going to last where they are. I mean, they could start backsliding, you know, possibly eventually with maybe a coaching change or in the future anyway. It's not going to like they're going to be consistently the best forever.
Jackson, this is just unfortunately. Get this slime out of my sight. Because clearly, Jeffrey, let me just remind you this. Do you ever heard of the saying, adding fuel to the fire? Well, ever since Georgia lost this season, that's added more fuel to their fire. So just be warned, Georgia will be coming after you and after Alabama. So I'm just going to warn you that now. So I'll save you the tissues later. So when Georgia
Well, they
takes
can
that
have
big
their
win,
regular season win. I mean, it's like
Don't get it to them, Jackson. Like we got to fight for it, man.
Well,
Come
well, I
on.
mean, we'll beat their ass in the playoffs. So there you go.
Jackson, like I said, you're being pre-warned before they really. And when I say when they really, and I mean they will really ragdoll Alabama's carcass until it's nothing but bones broken in the ground. So I'm just going to warn you before it happens. Because I foresee it happening.
I mean, it's only 268 days until then.
Jackson's already counting down. He's got it on the calendar. He's ready to go. I mean, we do have some time before the what is possibly foreseen happens to Alabama, and hopefully it doesn't. I mean, I hope Alabama has a better season. I mean, I agree that Alabama's not what they were. We all knew when Saban was gone that it was impossible.
Oh, my mistake. 198 days.
But I mean, I will say that I think Alabama has a shot to beat Georgia. It doesn't mean they will. I thought they were going to lose this past season, and they won.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. Football's crazy. I mean, it's not as crazy.
Alabama only won for some godforsaken miracle that Alabama fans were praying that Coach Saban would come back. Well, he isn't coming back, and Caleb DeBoer just got lucky that Georgia was a weakened team, and plus of injuries. So let me just be clear about that, Jeffrey. And that's to clear up the air.
Okay.
Anyways, this Dark Lord of the Sith has got other things to attend to. And Godfather, I'm just going to warn you three. Be warned as I've foretold you, because Georgia's going to come back and home. And when they do, you ought to expect when they strike. And when they strike, Alabama fans are going to go into another frenzy again. And then when I come back on the show, I'm going to tell you, I told you so. And you'll all be just looking down like fools. Just saying.
Okay.
I mean,
all right.
If Alabama loses to Georgia, it's like.
Well, I mean, he left before he answered Godfather's question.
See, but here's my thing. Like, if Alabama loses to Georgia and, like, you know, Caden comes on and says, I told you so, all that kind of stuff, like, it's not like it'd be different if I was like, Alabama's going to curve stomp Georgia next year. They're going to blow them out. We're better than them. Georgia is in better shape right now than us.
Oh, yeah.
By far. Because Kirby Smart's there. He's built the program up. Yeah, they've had some issues with players doing things correctly off the field last couple of years, but the program's overall, they got talent. They're going to keep winning games.
Oh, yeah.
Alabama, we got a coaching change. Best coach of all time's gone. New coach, new culture, new system, new players. It's a lot of new. Oh, and there's growing pains. Alabama is in a little bit of flux right now. Which way are they going to go? Are they going to get better? Or are they going to continue to struggle a little bit? We'll see. So, I mean, I wouldn't count on Bama winning, especially in Athens this season, but there's a shot. And I mean, if they lose, it's not like I'm going to be shocked, you know.
No.
So I mean, Caden always cracks me up. Always love his calls.
I didn't even know that he became
like crystal balls and stuff like that. It's funny. It's funny. But it's like, you know, you come on and say, I told you so. It's like, tell me what? Like, if I was picking the game right now, I would pick Georgia to win. Right now.
But you did hear we were summoned.
But I'm not picking that game right now because we're hundreds of days away, over 100 days away. So yeah, the summons, yeah. That's up to you on if you want to go to that, man. No. I think my Saturday night might be full. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man, this is too funny.
But always appreciate him calling in. Thanks, Caden.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, man. It's like. But yeah, I mean, I'll think about it. Like, you know, it's like, we'll have to get through the storm first, of course.
Absolutely. Hopefully that will be okay.
Ugh, like good grief. But before we get to our next callers or go over our takes on the latest stories, I've got a little something for you. the sponsorships of the Voice of College Football, where you can get your business, product, service, or personal brand to the next level by partnering with the Voice of College Football. See what the partner Win HC has to say about the sponsorship experience with us. Let's discuss how you can reach your target market. Contact us at sponsorships at Voice of College Football today. So come on in, partner with us. Stay tuned. You won't want to miss it.
Absolutely.
Here we go. All righty then. So apparently, there we go. We got the spot. So, all right then. Well, there's been some people that have been complaining about how Nick Saban's doing things on ESPN. You know, he's got FCC's whining and crying, carrying on, throwing a fit. Like, for what? I mean, he's going to be Nick Saban. I mean, come on.
The thing is, this is all I'm going to say, and I have not followed that saga very closely on that topic, but this is all I'm going to say. When you are employed at a company, you know, whether it's media or anything else, the one thing that, as long as it's not something that's like, you know, egregious or anything, you need to let that person be themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like, like if you make them tone down their personality or make them alter their personality on screen, and what's coming out of their mouth is not truly how they feel or how they would present that like that discussion, then you're ruining that person as a commentator, as a media person. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Nick Saban is giving you his thoughts. Nick Saban is giving you how he feels. And if people are frustrated at it, you know, and if ESPN's getting frustrated by it, then he doesn't need to work for them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. Like again, there are lines that you shouldn't cross, and I'm not going to define those lines. It's not up to me to say, but most people know what lines should not be crossed. There's things that you can't or should not say, but most of it's fair game. And like I said, you should let their personality shine through. If Nick Saban is being honest and truthful with how he believes, I mean, you hired him to tell people what he feels about college football. Let him do it. You know what I'm saying? That's my problem. Do not like water it down. Do not tone it down and make Nick Saban commentate in a way that is not how he actually feels about college football. Because I feel like when I watch certain individuals, especially when I've watched them for a long time as commentators, and I watch like their old clips versus now, they do not seem like the same person. They seem like a shell of their former selves. And it's like, is it just that they're not good commentators anymore? Like if they lost their touch, like lost their fastball, or is it because of who they work for, not allowing them to be themselves anymore? That is what I don't like. You know, I understand you sign a contract. Again, there are things that you should not do, lines that you should not cross, and I'm okay with that. That's fine. But if you're not crossing those lines and you're just being yourself, let that person who you hired be themselves in portraying the information they want to share. And if you can't do that, then you do not need to have that person as a part of your company. That's all I have to say.
Agreed. Because like crying about Nick Saban cussing, like, come on, viewers. I mean, don't you have like something better in your
Here's
life?
my thing about cussing. When I was a kid, you know, and like I growing up in the late 2000s, early 2010s, this is a little bit different era. You know, it was more understandable for, you know, as a kid, like a young kid, not to hear profanity. Like, don't watch movies that have profanity, stuff like that, because like you could kind of control that. Obviously, you're still, when you go to school, you're going to hear kids say things that they shouldn't because kids hear words, they're going to repeat them, then you repeat whatever. So like they're you know, you pick up on things you shouldn't pick up on because that's just people being people, kids being kids, whatever. The difference with today, we got all this technology now. I mean, I can't imagine being a kid growing up now, a little kid, versus when I was born.
That would suck.
And so these kids are already exposed to crap that they should not see, right? On TikTok and on YouTube. And I mean, you've seen the scandals even on kids' YouTube, right? Of the content that is on there. Like, oh, this is for kids. This is like Disney stuff. And it's like people making fake animations of them, and it's adult junk. It's sick, right? So you see kids getting exposed more now than ever before to things that they should not see at a young age because of parents just giving them free reign to look at tablets and phones at the age of 2 and 3, which is a joke, and it's terrible parenting. So kids probably at the age of 4 or 5 already know probably every cuss word. Might not know what it means, but they know every cuss word. Now, is that right? No. But if the thing that they're the most mad at is Nick Saban cussing on a college football show where the vast majority of viewers are adult males, I don't think there's really that much of a problem. When I used to, I don't know if this happened with you, when I used to watch TV, when I was a kid, and there might have been something on the TV, a word that you're not supposed to say when you're young. I was just told, if I was watching with other people, or if I was like, don't say that word, it's a bad word. Kind of like in SpongeBob. That's a bad word. It's number 11 out of the 13 bad words. Don't you mean there are only 7? Not if you're a sailor.
Mr. Krabs.
Yeah.
Patrick said this.
Mama Krabs. Yeah. Okay, I could quote that whole episode.
Oh,
I love Sailor Mouth. But, I mean, the thing is, though, is that's my point overall. It's like you were told, like, don't say this word.
Right.
And you just didn't say it. So, but it's like, why can't we have that now? Like, if you're a little kid and you're watching Game Day and Nick Saban says a bad word, it's like you could just have mom or dad or family member or somebody, friend's parent, don't say that word. It's a bad word,
I thought it was
I don't know. I just feel like we live in a culture and society today where people want to neuter and tone down and cater to everything and to everybody. Yeah. Oh, don't do this, but you're exposing them to all of it anyway. Yeah. So it's like, it doesn't make any sense. Don't do these things, but we're going to expose you to it. Whereas back in the past, you weren't really exposed to it, and you just found out on your own, and then you decide whether you do. I don't know. It's just different. I know this isn't always like a one-size-fits-all type of situation, but again, I think that it all boils back down to people are just really soft sometimes with this sort of stuff. Nick Saban going to, like, people mad at, like, complain about that. I mean, really? Like,
I thought it was hilarious seeing Nick Saban cussing on there.
It's great. I mean, we're adults, though. You know what I'm saying? We're adults. So, but I mean, again, if a kid's watching, all you have to do as a parent is be like, don't repeat that word.
Oh, yeah.
It's not that complex here. You know what I'm saying? To me, that's just
like Corso. Like, it was like an 04, 05 episode.
Yeah, he said the F word.
The F-bomb, but I know he said the F-bomb the week before rivalry week in 2011 when game day was at SMU Houston. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, I was a little kid. I was watching it, and I remember it, and it was hilarious. But it was like, don't say that word. Okay. Yeah. Again, it's not that big of a deal.
No.
To me. Especially, again, when kids, which I think is wrong, but they're getting exposed to just so much trash and filth on the internet when they're kids, little kids. It's like, that's nothing. That's chump change. So, like I said, let Saban, let Lee Corso, let these people be themselves, or do not hire them to give their thoughts on college football. Don't do it. Because I don't want to see Nick Saban on ESPN or any media network anywhere. And if he's not being himself, if he's not being his authentic self and telling people how he feels, don't do it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear anything that has to be said out of Nick Saban's mouth about college football if he's not telling us how he feels, how he truly feels. If you're going to water it down, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Yeah, because it's like, I think with like NBA, the inside the NBA being a part of technically ESPN next year, they're kind of like making sure that they can't water them down. So, because like if they can't water down Charles Barkley, which They don't need to be doing that anyhow. That's a bad move to do that.
Yeah, because it's a great show. I mean, like what makes it funny is the tomfoolery and shenanigans that they get into, and what makes that even less of a big deal to me with Inside the NBA versus College Game Day with Saban. College Game Day with Saban's in the morning. You know what I'm saying? Again, don't water them down, but it's in the morning. Again, more kids are going to watch, but again, as a parent, be proactive and just say, don't say that word, right?
Exactly.
But with Inside the NBA, that is on at night.
Yeah.
Sometimes like late at night. That thing will be on at 12:30 in the morning. What kid is up watching Inside the NBA at 12:30 in the morning? You're not. I mean, most kids go to bed at 9, 8:30. I mean, like us back in our day, you're playing your DS in bed or something until midnight or whatever. But like other than that, you weren't up, right? I mean, now they're on their phone again, different era. I'm aging myself, right? But you know what I'm saying though? It's like when you're a kid, you're not up watching TV at 12:30 in the morning. So it Inside the NBA, I mean, I'm sure most people that are watching that are adults. And like I said, the shenanigans that they do on there is what makes the show funny. Makes it, a good show. I mean, is it always like the best commentary ever? Like, are they really critiquing the NBA game that much? No, but it's just, they're just having fun. And so it's kind of like we do on here. We're just having fun talking Bama football, Bama basketball, and SpongeBob jokes and Powerpuff Girls and Gunsmoke. I mean, we're just having fun. I mean, and that's what they do. Like you're enjoying your job, and like that's a good thing. Don't take that away from them. Don't take away their fun.
Playing Atari and watching Benny Hill.
Yeah, see, I'm not that far back. I have played the Atari though. I have played the Atari, just like not when it came out. Like I've played on like an original Atari. Someone had it, and I've played on it, which that's real fun. Especially I played it on a TV one time that was like a new TV, like like the HD TVs, and that screen's real good. Playing Asteroids on a flat screen TV that's HD is great. You can barely see the little asteroids coming at your ship, but then plugging it into an old TV, it's like, wow, this is playable. And I've also played, those little small sets that they have where they come out with the classics or whatever. So yeah, I've played a ton of Atari, but not when it came out. I'd be like 50 years old then. It's crazy to think about, right? When people talk about like history and nostalgia and stuff, like people that were around when like hair metal and the Atari and stuff like that, like they're in their 50s now. Like the Atari came out in 1977. That's insane. They'll be 50 years old in 2 years. That's crazy. Like that's honestly crazy. Like when I was a kid, it felt like 80s music was like not like boomer music. Like it wasn't old because it was like 2008 is like 20 years ago. Now it's like 40 years ago. It's just crazy how like long ago that stuff is. Like I love like the original NES, and it's like Super Mario Brothers came out in 85. Well, technically like the arcade original Mario Brothers.
I remember playing like
82,
Nintendo GameCube for like it wasn't like at my house or anything, but it's like when I was like a little boy and if my mom would need to go to work.
Did you play Double Dash?
I don't think I did. But
never played Mario Kart Double Dash, my lord. Okay.
No, that's right. I did play Mario Kart because like it's coming back to me because I keep hearing like Mario Time or Peach, Daisy, woohoo!
Well, Double Dash, I mean, you had the swap feature where you're like you're driving and the other's throwing items. It was like
yeah.
That's cool. It was the only Mario Kart where they had that because I'm like 5-6 years younger than you, so I mean I grew up with the Wii and DS era. You were like the Game Boy Advance, GameCube. So, but it's like, man, Mario Kart Wii, the wheelies, man. I used to break those wheelies off the jump ramps, dude. And you get the flips and stuff, man. It was such a fun game. The new Mario Kart on the Switch, it's not the same. It's not bad, but it's not the same. They took away the wheelies, a lot of the janky tricks that you could do like off like the escalator on Coconut Mall and like all these other levels, man. You don't have that because they cleaned the game up. Mario Kart Wii is janky. It's not N64 janky, but it's janky. It's just so much garbage that you can perform, like tricks off broken polygons that they didn't render right. It's great. Mario Kart Wii is one of the best games of all time. Honestly, I think it's one of the best video games ever created, because I mean I know that there are other games that are like better, more sophisticated, but I think Mario Kart Wii is my favorite Mario Kart, and it probably will be forever. I mean, people still play that game. They mod it, man, where you can like create levels for it. It's just that version of Mario Kart to me is the best. The Switch is good, but yeah, Double Dash is great as well. I love playing Double Dash. I've played it before a few times. But yeah, the GameCube is so hard. It's so hard to play the GameCube now because it's so expensive, man. Like the games are high. Like they're not very accessible.
I'm not messing with PS5. Like, I mean, it's like
new consoles are ridiculous, man. The PS5, man, is like some of these games are like $80, $70, $80. It's a joke.
I like the NCAA football games, but at the same time, it's like, no, I'm not spending my money on the latest thing. That's dumb. You could use your money on something else. It's like, you could use your $499 on an investment. Like, use that money on investments.
Yeah, we got Troy V saying we did wheelies on actual bikes. Yeah, me and Jackson are not that cool. We're not that cool. But yeah, I bet that was pretty awesome. You just don't want to like go off a ramp though and like break your arm or something. But yeah, that's pretty cool.
Godfather, the SEC had a 12-inch black and white RCA TV.
Dude, you can't beat that, man.
Note to self, watch TV on black and white. Just like set the settings to black and white. That way you can imagine the colors.
Yeah, it's almost like you're doing more of the imagination. It's more creative. You got Troy V saying, I grew up with 80s music. The metal was great. The other stuff, hated it then and still hate it. Atari was the bomb, though. 80s music is one of the most, I don't know what you want to say. It's such a controversial decade. It's not the right word I was looking for. But it's mixed. There are, and some of them are guilty pleasures. Honestly, but there are some 80s songs that might be cheesy as heck, but they're just freaking good. Some of the pop songs, yeah, they're cheesy, but they're good. The hair metal, some of it's bad, but some of it's good. Like some of the riffs, like especially if it's like hair metal that's like actually heavy, it can be so freaking good. And some of those people are really talented. And then heavy metal, like the heavy metal is fantastic. But I mean, I personally, I like more of like classic rock from like the 70s into like very early 80s. But I mean, the 80s it's just so interesting, man. It's just such an interesting decade because some of that synth that was going on, like some people hate the synth. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, Jackson. I'm really going off the rails here, but like the synthesizer when you got like Jump from Van Halen or Separate Ways from Journey or I don't know, like Take On Me or something, like the synth piano that's playing over everything. Like a lot of people hate that, but it's just such a vibe sometimes. Like you have to be in the mood to listen to that. But it's like, man, sometimes it just works. You know what I'm saying? It's just
$1,000 for PS5. Like, is that what it costs? How much do they cost now? Like, good God!
Jackson's done with my 80s.
$1,000 over a freaking PS5?
That's a joke. I honestly, yeah, everybody wants to rule the world.
Bro.
That's another one with synth. Good call. Jeez. But yeah, you got ripped off, Austin. Honestly, like how, dude, isn't it PS5 like $500, $600?
That better be a damn good game you got,
dude. Like how is it that much, man?
Like $1,000 for a PS5. Oh,
you must have got it when it was like scarce or something. You know what I'm saying? Like when when a console first comes out and like everybody wants it. You know what I'm saying? Because there's no way. Like you can pick one up now for like $500, right? I mean, I don't know because I'm not a big PlayStation guy, but
I love PlayStation, but I don't love PlayStation enough to spend $1,000 on it. Like, good God,
dude, a PS2 I'm sorry, but a PS2 is one of the best investments ever, especially like when I was younger, because they were cheap, man. You get the DVD player, which now obviously that's not useful anymore. You can get a DVD player,
man,
but you had the DVD player and the game console for $300, but then you could get it for like $100 like a while ago. Like there's tons of games. You can play all the PS1 games, the PS2 games, DVD, PS2, one of the best investments. That's why they sold as many as they did. Troy saying the metal scene back then was killer. Thrash metal started. Heavy bands like Dio, man. Freaking Dio, man. And the funny thing about it that kills me with Dio is that his like, I guess this is most popular song, Rainbow in the Dark. He did not even like Rainbow in the Dark because it was like a lighter song. It had like the piano over the wrist, and then Vivian Campbell's solo though, man, that's still fire in that song. But Holy Diver, like Dio is good, man. I
remember hearing Holy Diver from South Park.
Yeah, dude, 80s music, man, it's mixed. 70s music is more consistently great, and then 80s music, like you got some bangers, and then you got like some really bad stuff that you probably have to be completely wasted to want to listen to. But I mean, literally though, like there is some gems. There's some great, and then after that, like some of the alternative stuff in the 90s is good, but then it just falls off, man. It falls off hard. Like music today is horrible. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Austin got it when it first came out, though. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yes, Troy don't like Rainbow in the Dark. That's what I'm saying, because it's a lighter song. Like, that's what I'm saying, but still, it's a good song, though. Not like the soft piano stuff, but then, like, the solo's good. But, you know, it is what it is, man. I feel you. I'm not as, like, into, like, the heavy metal. I like heavy metal and, like, below. So I tend to like more of the songs that, like, purists, like, metal purists don't like. But, you know, it's fair. It's fair. Everybody's different. I mean, Jackson probably doesn't know hardly any of this stuff because I know he likes country music, and that's definitely not.
Well, I like all kinds of music personally. Like I'm just kind of like listening to a lot of it, but that is funny though. Austin, your fiance did not like that buyout. It's like I don't blame her.
Well, no, I mean that's an investment, man.
You got ripped off.
You're in the hole. You paid way more than what anybody else is ever gonna pay for the exact same thing. Not good. And then you got Austin with the Nickelback, man. I will say, Nickelback's hate was too much. People over hated Nickelback. It was just the thing to hate Nickelback like 10 years ago. It was just like, oh, they're the worst band of all time. That is one of the dumbest statements of all time. There are so many worse bands than Nickelback. It's unbelievable. Even among that genre, post-grunge, which is not a great genre, honestly. It's not. But honestly, it was like the last significant rock genre. So it's something. But
don't look at the chat, Jack. Don't look at the chat. Don't look at the chat, man.
Yeah. Okay. But the thing is though, is that Nickelback is just mid. And that's why people hate them so much, because people like to pick on mid. They don't like to pick on garbage sometimes. They want to pick on mid and be like, you're the worst. And it's like, no, it's just because there's a lot of people that think they're better than they are, and they're not. They're just average. Yeah, I mean, Nickelback is the definition of mid. And the pantheon of rock music, there's a lot worse than them, but they aren't great either. They got like 2 songs that I think are decent, and that's it. And it's like the early stuff. Anything past How You Remind Me, it went off a cliff. Like it's significantly worse. And that's essentially how post-grunge is. Just like every single post-grunge band started out with a couple decent albums, couple decent singles, and then they all just kind of suck. That's exactly the definition of that.
Oh man, like,
Godfather of the SEC says Kiss, the band Kiss. Yeah, man.
I dressed up as I forget the name. Yeah, don't encourage them. Don't encourage.
I always laugh on Kiss though, because one of the songs that they hate is I Was Made for Loving You, because of the fact it's like a blues song or whatever, or like a disco song, right? Not blues, disco. It's kind of like a disco song. And it's like, how is it a disco song? It's kind of like it, but now they in their live sets, they don't even play it with the disco elements anymore. So it's like, it's just a a regular old classic rock song. Like, what's the deal? You know what I'm saying? I always laugh at that, but some of their songs are really good. I know they only play like 4 songs of them on the radio ever, but like they did have some good songs. The only thing with Kiss is they put out a lot of albums, and like they would only have like 1 song on each album that was like good, and that was the problem. Like they never had like one album that was like great with like a ton of songs on it. Some bands do, like Led Zeppelin 4. You know, like there's a lot of great Appetite for Destruction if you're a Guns N' Roses fan. Like there's a lot of albums that were, or Boston's first album. That's one of the best of all time. But Kiss just had a lot of songs over a lot of albums because they would release something like every year. So yeah, it's great. So I can't help it. I love talking about old music. Like it's great. Yeah, More Than a Feeling, man. Peace of Mind. Don't Look Back. Foreplay, Long Time. I mean, all those songs are freaking great. Feeling Satisfied. Yeah, I mean, I could go on and on about Boston. They're
we have our next caller of the show. We got Will and D on the line.
Will and D's into my music talk. Go, what you got for us, Will?
Have you guys listened to the new Lady Gaga album?
No, of course not. You know I have.
It's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good.
I know.
Dude, all I know about Lady Gaga is like Bad Romance and like Poker Face and Just Dance or whatever. That's all I know.
like Cartman's version of Poker Face a little better than Lady Gaga's. It's much funnier. But I do know that Stars Born movie, that was a top-notch film. But
good movies, yeah.
Yep. Old Sam Elliott's cool. Now I like where they had Dave Chappelle there. But
yeah, like the first half of the album is really good. There's a couple songs at the end that aren't that good, but it's a solid 8 out of 10 album, I would say.
So I mean, like, do you know like Lady Gaga's whole like discography or whatever?
Well, I know her like older albums. I don't really know her like
I mean, I'm impressed. I mean, I'm like, Will's digging the Lady Gaga, man.
My friend was like, Will, you have to listen to this album. And we were on a drive back, like a 3-hour drive back. And I was like, all right.
It's kind of like Nickelback being mid. Lady Gaga, there's a lot worse than Lady Gaga in modern day music. I don't like her. I don't like her music, but there's worse out there. I mean, modern music's bad. So, I mean, I'll give Lady Gaga, I guess, a little bit of a pass. You're not the worst.
Oh, it was Fergie that was singing that I Hope You Know song.
Fergalicious.
I just remember hearing that like in 07. Like my sister.
It already sounds cringe, man. Oh no.
It's not the most sophisticated song.
I hope you know. I hope you know.
See, this is trash. Like you got Adam saying Layla by Derek and the Dominoes, aka Eric Clapton.
It's better than
Fire song, by the way. Bobby. Fire song. Song goes on too long at the end, but it's a great song. Sticks. I saw Adam mention Sticks. Sticks is great.
He gets up, the news is out. They finally found me.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know any other songs by them, but I know that.
Sticks was good, man. I like Too Much Time on My Hands by Sticks. That's a good song.
Yeah.
Oh man, I was listening to that Margaritaville song the other day from Jimmy Buffett. Now it can't go away from my head.
It's my own damn fault.
I
did not say it all the way. I'm not saying it on Mark's Voice of College Football Network, but you know, that's like one of the most popular parts of the song. Yeah.
Oh man. Oh man. And Godfather SC says, "I'll blow your minds." Me and my mom, Mark's really gonna love this one. Me and my mom got to see Elvis at Memorial Coliseum 1971, 75, 76 in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Now the name is Coleman Coliseum. It changed in 88 or 89. Nice. You got to see Elvis.
Mark Rogers, if anybody around here doesn't know, is one of the biggest Elvis fans out there.
I gotta admit, man, I don't really like. I've tried to get into Elvis because of Mark. I don't know. I might be too young.
Elvis is an acquired taste, man. It's like Conway Twitty. Not the same thing. But it's like some of Elvis's stuff, there's some, like, I think Viva Las Vegas is a fun song. I don't know why, but I think it's a fun
decent song.
I think it's a fun little song. I mean, like Jailhouse Rock it's like
Hound Dog's pretty cool.
Hound. I wasn't even his song. That was a cover. But I will say though that there's a lot of Elvis stuff that I think is overrated. Just like the Beatles. I think the Beatles have decent songs. Like I know why they were famous. I do. Like they got an unbelievable lineup that created a lot of great music. But there's only a few songs of them that I can listen to. It's older stuff. Like I know it's dumb for me to say I like Styx, Boston, Led Zeppelin, all that kind of stuff from the 70s, and then say like the Beatles and like Elvis. But it's like it's not the same music. It's more of a genre thing. I like a certain genre of music. And if you don't fit that genre, then it's kind of hard for me to like. It doesn't mean that it's bad. It's just I'm not going to listen to it on a regular basis. So, I mean, I know why the Beatles were, famous. And Elvis, obviously. But
Yoko Ono ruined the Beatles group. Like, she sucks.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So, Jeffrey, since we're already off the rails.
Yeah.
How confident are you that Indiana's going to make the tournament?
50-50.
Oh.
50-50, Will. All I know is why in the world, when they beat Ohio State, do they say, Indiana's making the tournament, they're good to go, and then they lose to Oregon? It's like, now they're not safe. I'm like, what happened? I mean, I know Carolina won in Texas and all that, but
Carolina now has to win. Now Carolina has to beat Duke. They have like no excuse to beat Duke.
No, they don't. And the thing is, I honestly think them beating Duke without flags should make the win less impressive. It's not. It's impressive. Like, literally. You'd be like, oh, they beat the number 1 ranked team in the country. And it's like, and I'm a Carolina fan. I'm still saying that's kind of trash. Like, if you beat Duke by like 1, you would not have beat Duke with Cooper Flag. He would have at least scored 2. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, no. Yeah. So, I mean, if Carolina beats Duke, they're going to get into the tournament. Do you think Indiana's getting it? I say yes for now. If there's no bid stealers, I say yes.
I feel like there's going to be a bid stealer or two, though. Probably out of the Mountain West.
I hope not, man.
But I don't know.
Just New Mexico win it all, man. Just win it.
Oh, man. Steve says, Willa D, Double J, and the Prodigy, Jeffrey. Salute, fellas. Salute, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
Thank you, Steve Cherry.
So instead of saying, will they make the tournament, do you think they should make the tournament, Will? Should Indiana make the tournament? No or yes?
It depends who they would put ahead in. I mean, I would put Indiana ahead of Texas. I would put Indiana ahead of Oklahoma.
Xavier.
Yes, Xavier. Xavier shouldn't even be in the conversation after losing to Marquette. Get him out.
Xavier.
Get him out.
Texas. I would still put him ahead of Carolina. Indiana. I would put him ahead of Carolina. Indiana is 19-13 with no quad 2, 3, or 4 losses, and they have wins over Michigan State and Purdue.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know, man. I think they should get in Dayton. That's all I'm saying. I mean, why would you want to put Indiana? Have Indiana and North Carolina play in Dayton. Let's make that happen. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. I get to watch both my favorite teams, and you know what? If Indiana chokes because they suck, go Carolina. I'm okay with it.
Only taught sports watch party of Indiana Dayton.
Yeah.
There we go. Oh man, that Texas
man, this Kansas Arizona game's been great.
Oh, what's going on there? Let's check
on ESPN.
it. Oh, they're winning by a couple points.
Kansas basketball fans this season have been absolutely ridiculous.
Mid.
You know what I'm saying, Will? They have been ridiculous. Yeah. They have trashed their team so hard, and they're still going to get like a 6 seed or a 7 seed. It's like, you're not even bad. It's because the streak of being a top 4 seed's over. I mean, please. Like, you're still having a good year, man. I mean, for Kansas, it's mid, but for Indiana, this would be great. So, I mean, please, like, get over yourself. It's not like you're having a horrible season or anything.
Exactly. So Texas is looking like they're probably in because that second overtime.
Oh my god!
No, they're not. They're not. They're not. No. If they beat Tennessee, they're in. If they don't, then they're probably out. I don't think they're in. Their non-conference slate was trash. They beat
I
nobody.
hope they don't.
And they have a lot of losses against teams that are worse than Indiana. So I would say that they're not. Plus, if you recall, Texas A&M did not make the tournament last year when they went on a run in the SEC tournament and had a better record than Texas currently does. With a loss, Texas tomorrow would be 19-15 if they lose to Tennessee. And they're 6-12 in the conference with a bad non-conference slate. I don't think that gets in. I don't. I really, really don't. I would agree with you, Jackson. You would think with that win over A&M, and by the way, they should have lost that game, but that's a whole other thing.
Agreed.
That in regular, it was either regulation or first overtime. That dude pushed off. That dude pushed off and got that and one. It's like, bro, that dude was not getting no and one. That dude right there flat out pushed off, and it was not even continuation. It was Kaluma, who's played at Creighton, Kansas State, and now Texas. Yeah, Texas is a has-been. All their team is full of dudes that play at like 4 different schools. They're horrible. Rodney Terry should be fired, but he's gonna. If they beat Tennessee, he's gonna save his job. He's gonna get fired eventually anyway.
I don't know why.
Get it over with. Same with Woody. Woody should have been fired last year, and we could have got Pat Kelsey. Sorry, Louisville, Austin and Louisville, but we should have got Pat Kelsey or somebody, or Dusty May.
I'll be honest about Texas. I don't know
Dusty
why.
May. You should have got Dusty May because he's an alum.
The thing is about Texas. Sorry to interrupt, Jackson. I'm done with Texas. Trey Johnson is Texas. You take Trey Johnson off Texas, TJD with Woody, and this is different because he's a freshman. Terry's cooked. Absolutely cooked. That guy's bailed him out all season long. And Tremont Mark, another transfer, right? Tremont, I mean, they got Caden Shedrick. They got Tremont Mark. They got all these guys from all these programs, just a bunch of has-beens, man. I mean, they're just not good. And Trey Johnson completely saves that thing. Like, that dude fights hard. I mean, he legitimately wants to win, which is shocking for a young freshman like that because his team sucks. Like, legitimately sucks, but he carries them so hard. It's actually impressive.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Texas, like if they do beat Texas, which I really hope they don't, because Texas.
They don't. I don't want to make in the tournament, man. I need Indiana and UNC in.
I feel like Texas, they're going to try to do some kind of March.
But we got to take.
Just win the A-10, Will, please. Just win. Honestly, I don't want no Tom Forey. I don't want no Dayton wins and VCU gets in. No, you get in, leave Dayton out, please.
But we would have won that game if Philip Russell was playing. He's the best defensive guard on the team. Dayton shot really well because he was.
Well, I don't understand why VCU went from safely in the field to they lose to Dayton at home and now they're like out. This is what I understand. Same thing with Indiana. Oh, they're safely in. They're good to go. Lose to Oregon. They're done. What? No, it's not how that should work. Because VCU was, according to brackets, safely in the field prior to that Dayton loss. And Dayton's playing a lot better right now. I mean, they're not the same team that lost to UMass in that 3-game losing streak.
Do us a favor. Win the A-10 and Tennessee do us a solid. Knock Texas off the freaking field.
I want Texas gone. They should have been gone today, but whatever.
I want them gone. So that Jeffrey's blood pressure doesn't go through the roof.
Texas needs to go. VCU, please get in. And then we need UNC, if you beat Duke, get in the tournament and let's play IU in the first four. Let's make this happen. Let's make it a great tournament for everybody. I mean, like I don't want these other teams, man. Like if Texas was legitimately good, I'd be fine with them getting in, but they're not.
Rodney Terry, I feel like is the same as Kevin Keats. Like
and Jake Diebler.
Huh?
And Jake Diebler.
Jake Diebler he's getting so much flack right now. And Steve Forbes. Oh my Lord. Steve Forbes.
Choke artist. Choke.
Every year, man. They get a big win over like Duke that one year, man, with Filipowski's getting run over. And then they fall apart. And then this year, they're safely and all they got to do is just not choke against NC State and Virginia and Florida State. And what do? They choke against NC State, Virginia, and Florida State. It's like Steve Forbes. And he's just sitting over there like, what do I do? I'm like, how do you beat Michigan in the non-conference? How do you look good early and then fall apart every year?
How about Colorado basketball? Like, I mean, they had a good short run.
Like Colorado State's better.
how does it feel to be TC West?
Is that coach still there? Boyle, right? Tab Boyle.
Oh yeah,
that dude's been there forever.
Oh yeah.
He's like got one of the most mid records ever, and he continues to stay there. I don't know how longer that's going to continue, because we're in this era now where coaches are not they're dropping like flies left and right. They're not keeping them anymore, so we'll see. But Tab Boyle he's been there for a long time to be mid. A very, very long time. It's kind of the one of the funniest of all time was that Stanford guy, Jared Haas or whatever his name was, or Haas. That dude, he never made the tournament, and he was constantly getting 5 stars. Man, he never did anything. I think he made the NIT once. That's impressively bad.
Adam saying Notre Dame is not a basketball school. Next year has to be the year that Coach Shrewsbury takes it up a notch. We're getting 3 top 100 recruits from the state of Indiana.
Yeah, including stealing Harrelson from Indiana.
Woodson
botched it.
I mean, the ACC is not good. We should not be like a bottom tier ACC team.
Yeah, I mean, like Florida State's bad, Virginia's bad, Syracuse is bad. It's like perfect opportunity, right? Yeah. And the thing is, if Shrewsbury had have done well in his first 2 seasons at Notre Dame, IU would have considered him. For real. Legit. Mm-hmm. But the thing that the straw that broke the camel's back with the IU potential, because he was on the list for a minute, which I'm like, no. It was when he said, did you see what he said about the fans? Remember, he was like, the fans need to show up and all that, which is fair. But, I mean, Notre Dame's struggling, but that's fair. And then Indiana fans interpreted it as the true fans. You remember when Mike Woodson said the true fans thing on senior night last year? So people were like, oh my gosh, Micah Shrewsbury is like Mike Woodson. He's all about the true fans. It's like he didn't even say that. But like that permanently eliminated Shrewsbury from the list. You got to admit that Indiana coaching searches are some of the funniest in all of college sports. My God, man. These fans are losing. They're still wanting Brad. It's like, no. Not happening, man.
Mid. Oh man.
I want Chris Beard, but it's not gonna happen. They're not gonna do it. They're not gonna hire Chris Beard because of that thing. That one thing. It's like, dude, hire Chris Beard.
He's proven innocent. That's the thing.
He would instantly have Indiana win.
Or also, if you don't want to get Chris Beard, go get Buzz Williams.
I would like Buzz Williams too, but they're not going to do it. I think the Drake guy or the Drake guy's looking probable. Brad Brown. Now, I do not want Brad Brown.
Brad Brownell.
No. I don't. He's winning in a crappy ACC. No, Brad Brown. I know this is on the Alabama channel, man. This is a great segment. Honestly, this is fantastic. Right, like the IU coaching search, man. I'm serious. No, absolutely no, Brad Brownell. He is mid. Like 98% of his career, he's been mid. He's like, oh my gosh, well, he's winning now. The ACC sucks, man. Somebody's got to win. Somebody's got to win.
Jeff Goodman from Field of 68. Do you watch that show at all?
I do sometimes watch the show.
He thinks it's down to McCollum and Burnell. Those are the top 2 candidates.
I don't want it, man. I don't want it. I saw Jeff Goodman. I'm like, no. You better be wrong, Goodman. You better be wrong. I mean, the Drake one, I see the vision. It's like the Signetti route. Like, oh my God, take a proven winner, blah, blah, from a small school. Archie failed, though, and that left a bad taste in the mouth of IU fans. A mid-major coach that sucked, right? And he's still sucking. Look at that Fordham loss at Rhode Island. Like, Archie, what are you doing? So, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to take a risk on McCollum for him to fail. But who else? If it's not those guys, then who? I mean, we're running out of options here because they're just passing up on everybody, or they're declining the job. I don't know. Who do you think it's going to be, Will?
I think they're going to go with the Signetti route in McCollum.
Do you think it will work?
Yeah.
You do. You think McCollum can have at least a Tom Crean career where he's like there for a decade before maybe he gets fired?
Like I've read stuff up. One of the Dayton players that played for Archie's like, yeah, like it was fun winning it all, but like none of the players had like a close relationship with Archie. Like Archie just didn't care about the players. Like he's a smart basketball mind, but so like players just quit on him because like
The players just quit on. That's great as a coach when your players just quit on you. That's great. I mean, that's a great thing to have.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're going to go with the Drake guy, but we'll see. I didn't want Mick Cronin either. That was a name they were throwing around for a while. I'm like, no Cronin.
Man.
I don't want Cronin. I don't want Brownell. I wanted Otzelberger too, but that flamed out, it seems. I mean, we don't really know, though. This thing's tight-lipped. I don't think they really know. I know these rumors and sources like Goodman are saying these things, but I don't know if legitimately anybody knows. And honestly, if nobody knows, that's probably the best case.
I mean, it would be fun to see Bennett Sturge play for Assembly Hall.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Indiana has to get this hire right. It honestly feels like in this new age of sports with NIL and the portal and everything, I know programs can be turned around fast, but it just feels like eventually once NIL, however this thing shakes out with new rules and stuff, there's going to be a point where it feels like it's going to be hard to get, back to that point. Like if you don't take advantage of it now, while people are vulnerable, like Kansas is vulnerable. These teams are, figuring this stuff out. Carolina. If IU does not get this hire right and start winning at a good level again, like they're supposed to, like they used to do, it just feels like they're never going to get there. You know what I'm saying? And then they're just going to keep being mid, and then people are just going to stop giving a crap. Because I understand Indiana fans say a lot of stupid stuff, kind of like how people say, "Oh, I'm going to leave the country and move to Canada in England and stuff." You know how people say that and then they don't leave. Well, it's the same thing here.
Florida State saying they're going to lead the AC, but never do.
You're seeing a lot of Indiana fans say, like, if they get this hire wrong, like I'm done watching them. And like they've said that stuff before, but it feels dangerous this time. Like Indiana fans are done. They are done with being bad, and that's scary. They have to get this right. They have to get to a point where no more bubble, no more, we're getting 5-star players, and then we're picked to finish second in the league, and you finish 10th. That can't happen anymore. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm looking at it wrong, but I just feel like they have to get this hire right, or Indiana might get cooked.
Did you see like Penn State fans, since they got like the sponsorship on their field, they're like, "Oh, we're never gonna go to the game again."
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't like the sponsorships on the field. I don't know if you do.
It's weird.
It makes it feel more professional, which again, the college game is supposed to be separate from that, but they're smashing it right together with all these rules.
They're making it
college football like an NFL light. I don't like it, but yeah, I mean, I think that's overblown. But I don't like the sponsorships on the field.
Yeah, I mean the sponsors on college football stadiums, it feels like they're trying to make it into like corporate America.
Dude, have you like Arkansas? Like, how in the world can you support Arkansas when you got freaking Walmart on your court? You got Walmart. Like, does anybody want to see Walmart? I mean, you got to shop there every week. Now you got to watch it while you're watching Arkansas.
It's like the wolf
on there. I mean, I'm being a little overblown, but I don't like it. It looks stupid. It's dumb. Like it was already, you had like this, the bowl games had the sponsors. You had like these conference tournaments, like the Big 12's the Phillips 66 or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like you got all
the ugly court.
Yeah, that court's trash. That is bad. When I first saw it, I thought my eyes were bleeding out. It's abysmal. It's like, oh wow, then you like squint at it. It's like, oh, it's the Big 12 logo all over. It still looks like trash. But yeah, I don't like the sponsors on individual teams' fields, but obviously, it's going to keep happening.
Yeah, I think this is definitely an important hire for Indiana. But like, did you feel that like with Archie too, or?
Well, I mean, I don't disagree. I mean, I thought Archie's personality was just like, I wouldn't even say brash is the right word, but. Yeah, it did seem like there was a disconnect. You know, like I understand why they feel the way they do towards him, but like Mike Woodson, as underwhelming as he's been, and underperforming as he's done at Indiana, you see how the players, even if it's an act, I don't see how.
Yeah, I saw like Ballo after the game.
Yeah, well, I mean, I will say that is not the majority of Indiana's fan base. I know that a lot of people think it is. It's not, because I do know a lot of them, not personally, but like on the internet. They're not all that crazy, but yeah, there's a portion of the fan base that don't do that. Don't do that. Now, Ballo kind of pissed people off saying that, because it's like, oh, well, you're making millions to complain, and you did come here. You could have stayed in Arizona, whatever. Or transferred to UNC. I don't know. I mean, it's all fair, but you don't do that. Don't.
Well,
don't
he was saying like in that speech, he was also saying like we just wanted to make Woody happy. Like,
well, you got to win. I mean, they didn't, and Woody's not a great coach. I mean, his scheming is like 1990s basketball. It's not good, but. I mean, the thing is what my point, though, is like that they seem to legitimately care for Woody. I mean, like you saw them like rubbing his head when they beat Purdue and like Ohio State, whatever. I mean, they like him. Archie never saw that. Archie just like sits there on the sideline. He chews gum, and like the players are just kind of like, all right, let's just do stuff, Yeah. I mean, Archie never he doesn't have a personality. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not personable to the media or it seems to the players. It doesn't mean he's a bad dude, but yeah, I did notice that in Indiana as well. But it is seemingly more apparent now that you've seen it. You're seeing it again at Rhode Island.
Oh yeah,
it's a Trojan fight, man. I mean, I don't know. It has been paying off, but will you keep those recruits? Will you keep those recruits? We'll see.
Better. I mean, just don't be hiring Brad Brownell, because, as Jeffrey has said, he's mid.
I don't want Brad Brownell. I mean, that would. I mean, I would take the Drake guy over Brad Brownell in a heartbeat, because with Brad Brownell, you have a ceiling that is not high enough. It's just not. You know what I'm saying?
They were Elite Eight, though.
I know, but.
Note to self: make mid a T-shirt.
I don't know. I don't want Brad Brownell. I don't even know how to explain it. I just don't want it to happen. It just feels like if you hire Brad Brownell, it's like you couldn't do any better.
Yeah, he was at some crap place.
Yeah, he was at Wright State prior to Clemson. Yeah.
But yeah, like Tad Boyle.
Here's the reason I don't want Brad Brownell, and it really boils down to Indiana, because it took Brad Brownell 15 years at Clemson to actually win. You know what I'm saying? Like, it took him 15 years to finally do something. He's not going to get that time at Indiana. That's the problem. You need somebody that's going to be able to come in and win immediately, which is something I know Chris Beard would do. Buzz Williams maybe would take a year, but he would do it by year 2-ish. Yeah. You know, the McCollum guys, won wherever he's been, completely different level. But you give him a chance, maybe. I don't know. With Brad Brownell, it just is not going to happen. It's not. He also recruits a specific type of player as well, which is essentially they're similar to Indiana. Just they shoot better and actually play more fundamental basketball. But like the type of player recruits is not the type of guy that would succeed in the Big Ten. I don't believe. It's hard to explain, but he's off the list for me because I don't see any shot for him to succeed. And you cannot hire somebody that like 90% chance that he's not going to not get fired after 3 years, or 4 years. That's what I see Brad Brownell doing, because I think if Brad Brownell was at Indiana for 10 years or so, maybe he'd win, but he's not going to get 10 years to do that.
Ew. Because I'm looking at Brad Brownell's record at Clemson so far. Like that first year, they were in I believe they were in the first ever edition of the first four. But let me double check. Yep, against UAB.
He took over for Oliver Purnell, right? He was there before Purnell.
Yeah. Oliver, what was his name again?
Purnell.
Yeah, he was there before Brownell.
Yeah, Brownell's been there the whole time I've been watching basketball. So yeah, but I briefly barely remember the other guy.
Yeah, Purnell I think was from some dung heap named DePaul.
Yeah, he was the last. I think No, he wasn't. Someone made the tournament after him at DePaul, but he was the last coach, I think, to make multiple tournaments at DePaul.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So 4 or 5.
Yeah, I mean, they were better this year. Coleman did have him playing better.
It
But-
took 8 years to get the first March Madness victory that wasn't a first 4 game for
That's what I'm
Clemson.
saying. Like, that's not a good sign. And I know people say, well, Indiana's got more resources than Clemson. It's about getting a coach that you know is going to win. And that's why it's unfortunate that your Otzelbergers, your Beards, your Buzz Williams are seemingly off the list, because I know for a fact that all 3 of those guys would win instantly at Indiana. They
I
would.
think a lot of it's just the fan base. They don't want to deal with the fan base.
I mean, it's fair, but I mean, the thing is I don't understand why Indiana is any different from North Carolina or Kansas or not.
Oh God, North Carolina.
All these programs have insane expectations.
Mhm.
I think the only reason why Hoover's getting a slight bit of a pass at UNC is because of the Final Four run. But if you take the Final Four run out, he'd be cooked. Honestly, he'd be cooked. I mean, UNC fans, they've been nice to Hoover. I'm for considering. But if there's another bad season next year, then all those attacks are going to happen. But I mean, people are saying Indiana fans are bad. Kansas fans are bad too.
Carolina is like a cult. It's like they only want like their like disciples of like Dean Smith and
What about
Roy Williams
Duke,
to coach
with the
them.
brotherhood? It's kind of the same thing.
Well, yeah, but they're like, oh man, if like Hebert leaves, like, oh, we shot her Jerry Stackhouse. That's like what? That's not
No.
what Carolina fans.
Absolutely not. If UNC
What
hires
are
Jerry
you
Stackhouse, then they're going in the Indiana route of being garbage. You know what I'm
Man.
saying? You don't want to do that. It's nothing against Stack. I like Stack. I thought he tried at Vandy, but no, absolutely not.
And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I don't know.
Oh man. What's your thoughts about Alabama basketball, Will? Like, do you think we can?
I mean, Bama will have they'll have a shot this year. I mean, I'm just curious to see if the SEC teams can actually like perform in the tournament this year, because like Bama has, but a lot of them, like Tennessee chokes. Auburn lost to Yale last year.
Auburn's choked a lot, but a lot of people forget the run they made. They did have the one run.
They had that one run in 2019, I believe.
Should have beat Virginia.
Oh yeah.
Gosh, Virginia got so lucky. Like every game, it felt like
They should have beat Virginia, man.
Purdue should have beat Virginia.
Yeah.
You remember that? Yeah.
Virginia.
Both of them should have won.
Ugh.
I mean, that Auburn game, I remember Barkley, man. He was going crazy. You remember that? Because, like, the ball went off Jerome's foot, dude, and he picked it up, man. That's a turnover. And they gave it back to him, and then Kyle got all the free throws.
You know it's March when you see Samuel L. Jackson and Charles Barkley commercials.
Yeah, and Spike Lee.
Yep. I mean, it's not March Madness without those 3 guys. I mean, it's like that's the way I'm looking at it.
Yeah, Spike Lee's got they're a little bit better now. They're getting decent, but like he's got to take his mind off the Knicks sometimes.
Maybe Spike Lee should buy the Knicks from James Dolan, honestly. Because like,
you think if Spike Lee bought the Knicks, that they'd be better?
Well, I mean, he's not a pervert, so I mean, there's that. Like,
I think Dolan makes a lot of money with the Knicks.
I don't give a rat.
So I don't think he would want to sell though.
Dolan sucks.
It's like Tepper, man. He's never going to give up the Panthers. You know he's terrible.
Well, he needs to give it up.
Well, Tepper might get forced out like Snyder did.
I hope
that'd
he
be nice,
does, man. I want Tepper so gone.
Well,
I'm sick of bad football, man. Like, can we make the playoffs once?
Well, when I heard about that story where Dolan and a certain movie maker from Miramax in the 90s were out like get massages and all that, I was like, okay, surely that's gonna remove James Dolan. Nope, didn't do that. So it's like, ugh. The Knicks are just continue to crap out for.
Hey, Will, do you remember the Tucker stuff? The Justin Tucker.
Oh, Justin.
Yeah, tuck and rub, baby, tuck and rub.
Oh,
dude, that was all over the place.
I thought he was better than that. Like, oh my god.
It looks like Arizona's going to beat Kansas. They pulled away.
Oh wow.
SMU, I've been tracking that game because people are trying to say SMU's still on the bubble, which they're not. Clemson's up 2 with 3 seconds left. SMU's not on the bubble. And see, that proves Clemson's mid. You are up 2 versus SMU. They're horrible. No way. Absolutely
Yeah.
not. And I think Utah State's playing tonight as well. They're up on ULP. They'll probably win now, and it'd probably help if they lost, but
Oh man.
yeah.
Well, oh man. Okay, three point. Okay, it's 3.2 on my end for SMU Clemson. Oh my god! Like,
Put this SMU Clemson game on.
oh man! Like,
What channel is it on?
I
oh
think it's
man!
ESPN too.
Okay.
Oh man! I am missing the Kentucky Oklahoma game, aren't I? Good grief!
March
Oh man!
Madness, man. I know it's not March Madness, but it's technically here.
Yeah, I'm going down over to see the A10 tournament tomorrow.
Hey.
That'll be
Oh
fun.
man!
Cool. I hope VCU wins for you, man.
Get some pictures, man.
It
There you
helps
go.
the bubble teams if you win, and I hope they win anyway for you.
Oof! There we go. Well, oh man!
Oh, these SMU players look sad.
Oh man! Oh, that's right. You're a few seconds ahead of me.
SMU's leading score is 13.
Oh god!
All right,
It's not even
Clemson's
good.
inbounding it.
This is so terrible. Oh, I see a Clemson guy. He's just like, okay, what am I doing here? What am I doing here? Okay, well, I gotta go there. Oh man. All I know is like, I know that. Oh man. Ooh.
What are your thoughts, Will, on the end of college basketball games? How they just never end? The reviews and the timeouts and everything.
Okay, do you guys see that Season on the Brink author John Feinstein died?
Yeah, I did see
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, my mom kind of knew him, so it's
That's wild. That sucks that he passed.
well, they went. Yeah, he did a lot of VCU basketball games and like a lot of basketball games like in the DC area in general.
That's cool.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, we're at 2.1 with SMU Clemson, or at least on my end it is.
Yeah, he's shooting the free throws.
Oh yeah. Oh, means breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. And he's nervous. He's just hoping to God he doesn't screw this up. And he's just boom, boom, do a little twirl, a little shimmy. Gets it 57-54.
They're in good shape.
Yep. Is it 58-54 on your end, or is it 57-54?
It's 57.
Okay. Well, breathing in, blinking, hoping the guy doesn't screw this up. No, he missed it. And
Dang.
I don't know why they
just a bit
They
outside.
should have tried to do it like some sort of pass play with Cross, like passing it, not just chucking it up the
Clemson
field.
wins, and SMU is
NIT.
officially eliminated.
Mid.
Yeah, NIT.
Barred from the tournament, like they always would be. Not a good team at all whatsoever.
I can't wait to
SMU
see Ohio State in the Crown, man. That's gonna be
man,
funny
fourth
watching the
wall
Crown
break,
with
part-
Ohio State.
This
Do
is
you
part
think if
two.
Indiana does miss the tournament though, and they play in the Crown, do you think they'll play in the Crown? Like they're gonna make them play?
I think they'll play it because of NIL money they'll get for playing
man,
it.
fourth wall break for those listening on Spotify.
and they'll
Apple
lose in the
Pod-
first round. Will
Oh
Yeah.
man, fourth wall break for those listening on Spotify.
Xavier will
Apple
probably be in the Crown.
Podcasts,
Villanova will be in the Crown.
and wherever you listen to your podcast on Alabama Voice College Football, this is part 2 of the Alabama College Show, the 23rd edition, and you're learning about the word of the night, and it is mid. And you're gonna have a great time learning about it.
Yeah, it's over for Kansas. They're gonna lose.
There we go.
another shot in the arm for the Kansas faithful. That their team has collapsed and they're no longer good anymore.
Sorry with me. I mean, Kansas loses first round, no problem. So
I still can't believe that game last year. You remember that game last year, Will? Man, Kansas, man, that was a ridiculous ending. They should have lost. They literally should have lost, man. That was terrible.
Oof. Well, all right, man. What else we got going on this week, man? What you got going on?
I mean, work's been going pretty well. I should have some time tomorrow to. I gotta do my Notre Dame off-season video. I know, like I have some of the slides done, but I'm gonna try to get that out, and then gonna be doing selection show. Maybe I'm gonna try to get some guests on. Maybe Matt Zemek, the Sorgies. We'll see if I can get any of them on.
Yeah, I want to do a selection show or like a March Madness bracket show or whatever with possibly somebody else coming up soon. I will see if it happens. It's so hard to fit stuff in, man.
It is, man.
Just don't have a lot of time.
I'm just like tired after work too.
I know, that's the thing, man. It's like, but before, like 2 years ago, I was pumping content out all the time. Now it's like it's just hard. It's hard, and like you said, man, you're tired, you're busy. So, well, I'll try to make it happen. I want to do a March Madness show. We'll see. Hopefully, I can make that happen, but I don't know.
Oh, Villanova to UConn's close.
There we go.
Did you guys see the end of that DePaul Georgetown game?
Yeah, I didn't see it because it was on Peacock, I believe, but I saw that.
It was like 10 seconds left.
Yeah.
Georgetown was down 3, shooting free throws. And the first free throw was an air ball. I was like, this is just Georgetown basketball encapsulated in the past 10 years, man.
Yeah, I will say though that
they're a little better.
Bill and Cooley, man, should have stayed at Providence.
I don't know. I think they'll make the tournament with Sorber, or at least be better if they can have Sorber for a year.
I mean, I hope he does. I mean, Cooley's cool, but he's just not. Georgetown's tough to fix.
It's like there's so much talent in the area, but they just can't.
It's like DePaul in Chicago. They can't keep any of the talent.
True.
Can't.
Like Maryland,
Maryland talent, they'd be fine.
Like when Willard got to Maryland, they started getting better with the talent, but Georgetown still. We'll see.
Yeah.
There we go.
Maryland's gotten a lot better.
Why can't the Maryland get even half of their fans for their basketball games to show up to their football games?
Dude, their football attendance is trash, dude. I mean, even when Indiana was like awful, I don't know if their fan attendance was that bad. Like Maryland's bad. They got no home atmosphere. Dude. It's only if like Ohio State's there, and even then.
Yeah, it's a
Well, alrighty. You could check out Will at Will and D Irish on YouTube. Give him a follow on X on Marcus_Era and on Instagram and Threads at Klowski414. Check him out, man.
That's good.
There we go. Well, Will, we'll be seeing you soon.
Appreciate you for coming on, Will. Always a blast talking college sports with you for sure.
Oh, man. It's always fun talking with Will and D, our good buddy, man. And I will tell you what else is really fun. Telling everybody to tune in to the Voice College Football @/Twitter account, where you can get top-notch discussion, debate, and analysis with no off-season. Well, you know, there's our guys, TJ Ronan, having his Michigan call-in show with Mays Madman tonight, our buddy Garrison from the Ohio State channel. And where are we? Oh, maybe I need to refresh this little thing. Here we go. We're breaking the fourth wall. There it is. Jeffrey and I breaking the fourth wall. For those that are watching on YouTube, we're doing it again. But for those that are listening, we are just describing it for you that are listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon, and much more. Ohio State, Michigan. Oh, there we go. The top 10 underrated programs for 2025, according to our friend at Rutgers at the Voice College Football, Gabriel Pickup. Dude's a mad genius, man. I mean, he's not only a mad genius on Rutgers at the Voice College Football, but he's also got an NBA website called NBA Trades, Rumors, and News, man. Go check it out. And of course, there's the Voice College Football Instagram account where you can see top-notch discussion, debate, analysis. And you can see the single game editions, NCAA records, most total yards. Who'd have figured? Patrick Mahomes with 819 yards in one game, most passing touchdowns. David Klinger, 11 touchdowns. Samaje Perrin, 427 yards. I think it was against like Kansas in like 2014. Well, I'll have to look back. Patrick Mahomes, Connor Holiday combined for 734 passing yards. Rashawn Woods, 7 receiving touchdowns. Oh, that's all for the single game records, but don't worry. The defensive record is coming soon. No worries. You're going to see more amazing posts on Instagram and /Twitter from the Voice of College Football. And it looks like we're going to be wrapping this show up in just a little bit. But before we go, Jeffrey, what have you got going on, good buddy?
Definitely, as I aforementioned, probably going to try to have a March Madness bracket reveal. I think after like the brackets revealed, talking about the upcoming games with a co-host, it's gonna be a fun show if we're able to do it. Hopefully, we're able to do it. Definitely been an annual tradition the last couple years. If you guys have seen the last 2 years of doing it, then you guys know what I'm talking about. But hopefully that's able to happen on Only Talk Sports, my YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed already, definitely would appreciate it, trying to get to 3,000 subs. And also every Monday nights and now Thursday nights as well, both nights, me and Jackson and Johnny on Monday and me and Jackson on Thursday doing the Alabama Crimson Tide show, call-in show. And also Crimson Tide Live on Monday. It's always a blast doing both of those shows, but definitely appreciate if you guys would subscribe down below, trying to get this channel to 3,000 subscribers, and always appreciate your support. And follow me on X as well, and Rumble if you are over there for Only Talk Sports, and for my X account at Only Talk Sports.
Well, you heard it here, folks. Give Jeffrey a subscribe on Only Talk Sports, where he talks sports every single day, or at least he tries to. And you can check me out on Jackson Johnson 979 on YouTube, where I do some magical stuff with Will and D for the Buzzer Beater, some magic with Sports Talk with Austin, and of course, I host my show, The Jacksonian, including my last 2 episodes where I had on Garrison Gaddy from Ohio State, The Voice College Football, Cameron Honesty from Aggie's Wire. And from the looks of it, my next episode will be once again, with Grayson Boone for a second time on the Jacksonian, where he's from Locked On Wolfpack. We'll be discussing whether Will Wade is the Nets head coach or not for North Carolina State basketball. And we'll be talking quite a lot about that. And you could see another episode after that as well with Ruby Dreyer Finley from Ole Miss at the Voice College Football, where we go over her journey as how she became part of the production at ESPN's College Game Day and Ole Miss Live at the Voice College Football. We will be talking about so much stuff all right there on the Jacksonian. And if you want to hear more updates on what's going on Alabama at the Voice College Football and the Jacksonian, check out and see what I have to say on Jackson VOCFB on @/Twitter or on Instagram and Threads at Jackson Johnson 543-908 or on Jackson Johnson 97 Blue Sky. If you're not too crazy about @/Twitter and Instagram for some reason, give me a follow. Check me out on Blue Sky as well. With that being said, like, comment, subscribe, click on the notification bell so you never miss no video whatsoever from Alabama at the Voice of College Football. And roll
Tide.